Okay, I'm sort of testing out the video system here because I've had a very long 48 hours. I want to make sure I've got space on my computer, among other things. Um, this is a new laptop, but lo and behold, I've already experienced problems with it. Um, let's see, it's now Friday. Wednesday night, my little mouse cursor got frozen on the screen. Very frustrating situation, and I was trying all sorts of things. I even got a little toothpick to see if maybe there was some dust residue in that. That didn't do the trick. So I was messing around with that for quite a while, good 20 minutes or so. Then I got into a situation with a lock screen. So anyone who has an HP product, you'll know that on a new product they have this sort of montage of photographs that come up to the welcome screen. Well, what I experienced was this was kind of frozen and there was a little airplane mode on, and that just would not go away no matter what I tried. And usually it would come up and you'd type in your PIN and you'd go in. Now, thankfully, I don't have the PIN issue, but it wouldn't even give me the option to type in my PIN. So this wasn't a case of it's rejecting my PIN, it just wouldn't come up. This was after the mouse cursor problem. How that developed, I don't know. Um, so basically, I went to my old laptop. Thank goodness I still have it, despite my threats to smash the thing up. Because believe me, it caused me an enormous amount of stress. So, despite my threats to smash it up, I did hold on to it. Thank goodness, as I could look up all sorts of internet how tos and so on. But the problem is, if you type anything to do with computer problems into the internet, you're overwhelmed with responses, so you don't really know where to start. And there's loads of YouTube tutorials, people telling you what to do. And the problem with some of those is they're helpful to an extent, but I often have a situation where people are giving advice, well-meaning advice, and it's simply not there. The things they're talking about that are on their model are not on my model, even though it's the same thing. It's Windows 10. It's an HP Stream laptop. It looks identical in every sense, but the screen format, the options just aren't the same. Anyway, I was trying all sorts of things. One of the pieces of advice that I came across was press the Shift button with the PRTSC button, which is beside the little airplane logo, as I'm restarting it. So I was trying that. Then I got up a range of options, things like I can't even remember now. Just a range of options on a blue screen. Then I couldn't get rid of the blue screen. I tried rebooting the entire system, and for some reason it wouldn't let me do that. So you can imagine at this point I'm getting very stressed out, very stressed out. I mean, I was fuming, um, because I'm thinking this is a new laptop. This shouldn't be happening. What the hell? What is this? And it's a profoundly stressful experience because I rely on the new laptop. I've got Word document on this that I didn't have on the old one. That's precisely why I got a new one, because I'm doing an online course. I need Microsoft Word, the updated Microsoft Word. The other one, it was there, but I needed to pay the subscription and it was out of date. It just wasn't fit for purpose. So I went through all of this not working. So I contacted both PC World, Curry's PC World, where I got the product, and HP themselves. Um, now HP, their advisor, was frankly not great. All he or she was saying, and for all I know, this is some center in India, or it's a call. It wasn't a call center, but it was one of these automated things. Well, actually, no. It initially was an automated thing, and I was just pissed off with that. Whoever came up with automated responses, in my experience, are a complete waste of time because you have to type in certain keywords, and then if it doesn't come up, we're sorry, we don't know what you're talking about. Please try again. That will never ever come. I don't care what anyone says. That will not compensate for talking to a human being. I would sooner take an incompetent person over an automated machine that just doesn't pick up what you're trying to say. At least with an incompetent person, you can ask to speak to their manager or something. It's just there's no comparison. Anyway, I got speaking to this person, and granted, she or he was better than the machine, but she just kept giving me advice about things that I'd already tried. So I was sending little screenshots that I took on my camera. I mean, this was a charade. This was going on throughout the night. I literally was up all night doing this. I was taking pictures on my digital camera and putting links to them, screenshots, and she kept just giving advice about things that I'd already done. So in the end, I just thought this is a waste of time. So I thought, okay, I'm going to have to go directly to the store. But I thought these buggers are going to find some way to charge me, even though it's, in my view, not my fault. I haven't done anything wrong. I haven't been reckless. I haven't. It's faulty. It's a new product and it shouldn't be like this. Well, their logic when I arrived at Curry's PC World was, oh well, it's past 28 days. So I had two options. I could either have it sent to Nottinghamshire. I'm in Sunderland in the northeast, right? So sent down to Newark in Nottinghamshire. That would be 7 days. It would be free, but it would be 7 days. That wasn't really an option because I'm working on this course pretty much every day, and I really didn't want to get derailed from that. Or £45. Money's not on my side at the moment, so I had to borrow money from my parents for that. Which I kind of resented, not because I wasn't paying anything. My mum lent me the money, but for her sake, I'm resentful of the fact that, well, this is a faulty product. Now, 28 days to me is a ridiculously short period. Most warranties and most sort of covers should be about a year. So I still don't entirely understand that. Someone from Curry's PC World did get back in touch with me on the online message, and they said, well, yeah, that's the sort of standard procedure. Because he asked me about that £45. And anyway, so I went to the store. It's a good 25-minute walk from where I live. Let's say half an hour back. Then they gave me a call and I went in and well, this is the situation I'm in now. It looks like most of it has been the good news. The one piece of good news was I haven't had to reinstall everything myself because I actually bought this online. It arrived and I went through Cortana, which is sort of an automated voice thing. It kind of guides you through it. It was relatively straightforward, easier than I expected it to be. Luckily, it didn't have to go through that again, though. It was more or less, he said it would be, the guy said it would be reinstalled to factory condition. Anyway, that was the experience I had. Very stressful day yesterday. At this point, I'm just kind of checking that everything's there. I'm trying to install the programs that I had before. There's less space than before. I'm not sure why that is. But the reason I'm making this is just to kind of show the sort of frustration that I've put up with laptops. I'm not a technophobe, but when people say technology makes life easier, not when it stresses people out like this, not when you have to put up with this BS. You know, it really is very distracting because we rely so much on technology. And what I find is there's a group called Know How. Now, I don't want to get into criticizing or attacking any individual person. But as a company, I do not think they're very impressive. This is kind of the technician side of Curry's PC World. And as I understand it, they also do deliveries and washing machines and dishwashers. Well, looking at their Facebook page, the responses are overwhelmingly negative. There's very few responses like, oh, it was a great service. I want to commend this very polite staff, very great service. No, it's overwhelmingly negative. I hear, I should say, I haven't had this experience myself, but I hear things, the sort of feedback that I'm seeing on that site, on the Facebook page, is the delivery man didn't even bother pressing the bell. I mean, who are these cowboys? That's just sloppy service. And then they claim the person wasn't in. I think honestly half the time couriers cannot be bothered. where they expect people to disrupt their life, to take a day off work, to disrupt their schedule, um, and, be at home all day, then they just don't bother showing up. I mean, that to me is just sloppy service. I accept, okay, they cannot guarantee that they'll be at your door at 11 a.m., but, this business of making people go out of the way to be at home all day, people have busy lives. And then they don't even bother showing up. I have to say that wasn't my personal experience, but I can very well imagine it because I've had that experience with other companies, and it's just sloppy. So I think, this is another example of a big multinational company, in this case, Curry's PC World. They're very quick to take your money, but when it comes to aftercare service, I mean, they've done this, but, I don't feel that they really were very reassuring. It's like I left it in I paid the money when I collected it, but there was no sort of, actually, the last half hour, I've seen some things coming up. I don't know whether they're needed or not. I'm trying to save space on this. I don't know whether something is installed, whether I need it or not. So there's no sort of, I didn't get any sort of feedback on that. Didn't get any sort of feedback on, well, in order to save space, you don't need this, you do need that. Something like that would be useful information to know. And I find they just sort of assume that you should know, or they don't care. So I have to be honest, my experience of know how is really not great. And it's not even as bad as some people. Like I said, I don't want to attack any individual. I'm just saying the overall sort of feedback of the service. Well, actually, I'm saying I don't want to attack individuals, but just to give an example, when I turned up, I was clearly stressed out. I was clearly unhappy, and the guy was just like, "Oh well, make your mind up." That was pretty much his attitude. There was no sort of sense of empathy or understanding. And I'm not expecting, trauma counseling or something, but if you're working in a big company like PC World, Curry's PC World, or at least you're the technical side of that, I think you should have some understanding as to the stress that people go through. And I must admit, yesterday when I collected this, I did vent a little bit. I said, well, look, I'll pay this, but I don't really know why I'm having to. And they were just young guys, so I didn't want to get into a huge thing. I said, well, look, it's nothing personal. I'm not, this is nothing personal against you, but it's just a reflection of the company. As far as I'm concerned, it's a faulty product. This is a new product. This shouldn't be happening. I've had all this stress. Um, and the problem is, where else do you go? I mean, Curry's PC World is probably the biggest um, supplier of electronics in the UK, apart from maybe Argos. But I have to say, I'm not overly impressed by. I just think a lot of companies are very quick to take your money, and they're very quick to make promotions as well. You'll see that they'll bombard you with emails about promotions, but when it actually comes to aftercare, i.e., after you've bought the thing, it's really not great. Um, and what can the ordinary Jill or Joe do about it? Is we rely on laptops. So it's something I find really. You get it with a lot of companies, not just with that. You get it with train companies as well. You get it with, big multinationals need to put people first for once. They're very good at promoting themselves. They're very good at, getting your money. And obviously they've been successful because, people are more likely to buy a laptop from Curry's PC World than they are from some second-hand dealer, right? So there's obvious business logic there in that they're successful and they keep on top of that. But in terms of, and the thing is, they would say, oh well, we can't be that bad if people keep coming back to us. But I think it's because people have no choice. They are the biggest provider, so people basically, I think, are putting up with the stress because they've got no other choice. That's my theory. Anyway, let me know your thoughts if you've had any headaches with computer type things. But I don't want. Please don't be a smart aleck. Sometimes I make videos related to this, and I get people saying, "Oh, it's easy," or it's like, "Oh, you need to do this, or you need to do that." Um, so please be respectful in the comments. Don't be a smart aleck. No one likes that. It's not. Um, because I find this is one of the most stressful things you can go through. It must be up there with getting married and moving out. Computer problems. Because you even go to these self-help videos online, or you even type in stuff to the internet to try and get some help, and it shows screenshots, or it shows like, oh, this is how it's done. And I check the screen, and maybe some of it's the same, but then mine's different. Why? So that's not helpful. Anyway, rant over. I just wanted to vent. I also wanted to make sure I could upload a video. Let me know your thoughts. It's just very frustrating, but I have to say, overall, my experience of Curry's PC World, having to pay that money, the lack of aftercare, the lack of information, I just don't think it's great.